you know, my husband's not gonna find me attractive anymore, and I'm never gonna go back to what it used to be, and I'm always gonna struggle with weight at this point. I don't want any other woman in that place. Good morning, good afternoon, evening from my somewhat moderate messy room. It's Chelsea. If you're new here, this channel belongs to both myself and my husband, and we've been documenting the pregnancy journey, and it's been such a blast, and I needed to come on here and address this video by myself because it's something that I need to take ownership of and learn from and help you guys in the process. That's kind of how I've always done it ever since I was a teenager, and I've learned so much through that process. But before we get into the topic of body image and how my body's changing and my thoughts towards it, all of that, because it's crazy, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a few people on Patreon. We started our Patreon community a few weeks ago, and we had our first Bible study, and our Bible study consisted of probably about 10 people, which our Patreon has grown to a small community of people so far, and we're just so grateful. You guys are partnering with us to be able to bring our podcast back ad-free, and also to just have a bi-weekly Bible study, and currently we're going through Galatians. So if you want to join in with us, you can just join on Patreon, and you can partner with us to create this content that will hopefully lead others to Jesus through just different avenues of the way that we're living life and the way that we're parenting soon, and just all the stories that we have yet to tell. So I'm going to give a quick few shout outs. Shout out to Rebecca, she's in Canada, Joseph in England, Alicia, she's from the US, Madeline, Rebecca, Samuel, Deborah, Caitlin, Sarah, Laura, Cecilia, Lisa, Casey, Kimberly, and Grace. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for just being a part, and I hope we can continue to grow together, and I can't wait to see how this community impacts and is able to take our content a little bit further. So one of the previous times I did a video on body image, it was called, quote, I hate my body, and that was something that I was receiving from countless women growing up being a teenager, and just seeing how much we just don't enjoy the body that God's given us, and we tried to manipulate our body by controlling it and then controlling what we eat and all of that sort of stuff. There's a healthy version of that, of trying to be a healthy individual, but then there's also the super hyper control freak, which I think a lot of us women have a tendency to go into if we're not careful, especially during pregnancy, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And if you've ever related to any body image issue as a woman, I just want other women to see that they're not alone here. So I want, if you've ever struggled with this, to give this video a thumbs up so that you can see that you're not alone. And if you even want to share a little bit of your story, feel free to write in the comment. But I just wanted to share what I've gone through recently with the recent changes of my body, because things are changing, and I'm easily out of breath. When I try to exercise, things aren't the same, and I know that this is a part of it, but the lies that I was believing for the past few weeks were ridiculous, and honestly, I don't want any other woman in that place. There's a lot of videos out there for postpartum women, people who are kind of recovering from the body that they had during pregnancy, but they have the baby in their arms. But there's not a lot of videos out there for the journey of it, for the journey of pregnancy, and you're seeing things rapidly change and you're not really sure how you feel about it. Or maybe you're on the other side and you're where I was, about like 14-15 weeks, and you feel like you're not even showing at all with the baby, and you're concerned because you're like, is it still there? Like, is the heart still beating? Like, what's going on? But then it's almost like overnight, your body pops and things start to stretch, and your body is getting used to carrying another human, and it's this wild process that is so awe-striking. I don't even know how to describe it. So wonderful, but it's also so like shocking. Nobody really can accurately describe the feeling for you. because you are experiencing a whole different set of emotions than I will, because your hormones are different than my hormones. It is such a beautiful thing, but there's like pain and like confusion and wild emotions that come with it. And just to let you into my head a little, the lies that I was believing was that my body is never going to go back to the way it used to be. And I think there's some truth to that it's not always going to be the same. If I had a baby or not, my body's not going to be the same as it is today, because we're constantly getting older. There's things that are constantly changing within our body. And honestly, our financial situation, our circumstances around us, our family, it's always changing. So I think in an ever-changing world, in a world that's always changing, to think that we can control something that is not really ours to control, it's kind of crazy how we think that we can control it so much to where it's almost like this obsession that we have. And that's where I don't want you to be, and I don't want myself to be in, because I think it's healthy to treat your body well, to put the right things into it, but not to take it to the obsessive point of, okay, I need my body to look even better than what it was before I had a baby. Some people that happens, but it's usually not the reality, especially if you had 2 or 3 kids or more. I wanted to share some truth that a friend encouraged me with, because I really needed to hear this in the moment. Whenever I was believing these lies that, you know, my husband's not gonna find me attractive anymore, and I'm never gonna go back to what it used to be, and I'm always gonna struggle with weight at this point, like those lies, because if I believe them as truth, then I might treat myself as such. They are lies. They're not truth. So the thing that my friend shared with me was really great, and I'll probably just share little bits and pieces of it, but maybe you need to hear this yourself. So I was just letting her know these are the fears that are going through my head, and I don't know what to do with them, basically. She said, most men I know are more attracted to their spouse when they're pregnant. Like, truly, it's sexy to them that they're carrying their child. You know, that you guys together have created this baby. You're beautiful, and this experience is beautiful. Allow your body to just be, and this is an awesome opportunity to love and trust yourself in your relationship. Your love isn't about the surface anyway. Your foundation is built on God, which is much more permanent. Everything else is bound to change. Health, money, body, location, hair, LOL. What makes them attracted to you most is your heart, your spirit, and just who you are as a whole. Your shape is just a cherry on top, but all those other foundational things is the real ice cream sundae, you know? The enemy wants to rob you of the joy of embracing your body, not being in control, and just leaning into change. Don't let the enemy win. He's here to steal, kill, and destroy, and everything that you're thinking is real and practical, but the benefit is you both are spiritual, and that trumps everything. Your spirits are connected to one another, and that's the real root of your love and attraction to one another. You could be the most beautiful, pretty, perfect shaped woman, but Nick would not be attracted enough to you to make his wife if it wasn't for who you are in spirit, who you are in your soul. So that was like relating to my marriage and lies I was believing about that. And Nick has been really reassuring, and it's quite honestly the opposite of what he thinks of me. Like, what she's saying about him being even more attracted is definitely true, but for whatever reason, again, in my mind, I'm like believing these lies. So this was just really encouraging to read, and my mouth is getting dry because I'm talking too fast. So she said this was also a breakdown to think about. Fear equals flesh, worry equals flesh, lack of love for yourself, flesh. Flesh equals Satan, the father of all lies. Tap into the truth of who you are, which is your spirit, soul, being, and marriage. Men do look with their eyes and are technically physically attracted to others all the time, but you have gone above attraction. You're connected at the root, at the foundation, a little curve in hips, and your baby that's forming in your belly that isn't going to stop that. If anything, he's going to think, I did that, score, come on over here. She just was sharing like a lot of awesome things that I just needed to hear, and maybe you just need to know that about yourself during this time too, that you do have control over those negative thoughts that you may be believing. And it's good to get your emotions out, but to sit in that place of like, I'm just gonna let this be called hormonal issues and problems and I'm just gonna dwell in it, it can lead to unhealthy thought patterns, and you can continue to think and believe lies that aren't true about yourself or your marriage or your friendships, whatever the blank may be. And for me, it happened to be lies about my body, lies about my marriage, lies about the security that I have in my relationship with God. Like, those sorts of things were surfacing. But I do think that whenever we have these thoughts and things that aren't so true, we can be reminded of truth, yes, but also we're given an opportunity to start weeding out things that maybe have always kind of been in our heart but hadn't had a chance to surface because there really wasn't a circumstance where it was tested in that way, if that makes sense. So take this as an opportunity to say, okay, wow, yes, this is an issue. These are lies that I'm believing, but I'm going to change them, and I'm not going to let this direct my course going forward. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today. I know this was pretty long-winded, but I think that we all need to know that as women, and I'm choosing to believe those things as I go forward and my body changes, and even postpartum when I'm going through probably emotional highs and lows and all of that. So if you're in this with me and maybe you're a new mom or you're just going through body issues, subscribe and join this journey with me, because I'm sure I'll be doing another video related to this, like after I have the baby, and we're also documenting the process all the way through. I would love to share a video on like us planning our baby shower gender reveal, because that's coming up soon and I felt very clueless through this process. So I would love to do that with you guys, and I would just love for you to come along the ride, and I will see you guys in our next few videos. We have a lot planned, and just grateful I got to sit down and chat with you guys today.